Technical Session 4 will be moderated by Dr. Manveena Chawla, and the technical session would be about the role of food parks in promoting processed food. Manveena Chawla would speak to all the panelists that we have today. So we have Shri Pranav Doshi ji from Gujarat Agro Infrastructure Mega Food Park Private Limited, Shri Nand Kishore Kagliwal Group, Ash Bhattacharya ji from Northeast Food Park, Nalbari, Assam, Shri Sukhinder Singh ji from International Mega Food Park Limited, Dr. Sanjay
Yes, ma'am.
from Mega Food India Limited. So welcome all the panelists, and I would now request Dr. Manveena Chawla to start the session.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome, and I welcome all the speakers who are on board for the session. Welcome all. Now, before we begin with the session, just a small brief about the whole discussion, which is going to be the central part of this session. Now, as we all know that India is amongst the largest producers of food in the world and has a vast raw material base for the food processing industry. However, less than 5% of the country's natural produce is processed due to lack of processing facilities, infrastructure, and technology. Almost 30% of the agriculture produce is estimated to be wasted in the absence of proper processing mechanism. Only 7% of the total Indian perishable produce is processed, which is extremely low compared to other countries. For example, in the US, it's about 65%, in Philippines, it's about 78%, and China is about 23%. But to give a major boost to the food processing sector by adding value and reducing food wastage and loss at each stage of the supply chain, with particular focus on perishables, the Ministry of Food Processing Industries is implementing the Mega Food Park scheme in the country since the year 2008. The Mega Food Park is a part of the Vision 2015 of MOFPI, that is the Ministry of Food Processing Industries, to raise the processing of perishables in the country from existing 6 to 20%, value addition from 20 to 35%, and the share in global food trade from 1.5 to 3%. Currently, out of the 30 mega food park projects that have been accorded final approval, 21 projects are operational currently. Although with the major food parks scheme, the government has hit the right track, it has taken almost 12 years to complete 60% of this target. So now this session aims to address the critical questions associated with the role of these mega food parks in promoting processed food and identifying the major bottlenecks connected with it. And to do so, we have a panel ready with us to take this discussion further. We're going to start the session with Mr. Pranav Doshi, who is the Director of Gujarat Agro Infrastructure Mega Food Park. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, everyone, and good morning to all. I think this is a very good initiative that AgroVision Foundation has taken, and we thank you for the same. In fact, if I recall, yesterday, Shri Gadkari ji had very good supportive words for all the mega food park community. And I must take this opportunity to thank Mr. Kagliwal and AgroVision Foundation both for this particular initiative that they have taken. And I mean, we've got a great support from Gadkari ji. In fact, he has been willing to say that he will join us in going ahead and coming to meet the Minister Tomar Saab himself. I mean, even if he says that is enough for us to get a lot of support and a lot of respite we can expect in the ongoing things that have been happening. What I would do is that since most panelists understand what the mega food park concept is, we will just, I'll just repeat it for the record. I mean, can we start my presentation, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So, of course, I mean, I represent Gujarat Mega Food Park, and that is how I wanted to start. We have a large setup and we are doing quite well in terms of support from industrialists who want to put up the units. We have 3 million square feet of state-of-art infrastructure, and of course, lots of plots, and all of us are in that mode. Mega Food Park, the concept, as we rightly know, the conceptual planning was great, and it was a hub and spoke model. It was supposed to be a complete integration from farmer to fork. A lot of us have gone into this in a wholehearted way and done a lot of effort. Everybody of us now know that it is not easy to do farm to fork, but the concept still is alive. And we are in a hub and spoke model where the CPC is supposed to be supported by lots of PPCs. Well, field collection is a great idea, but primary processing center in a lot of places like Gujarat or Maharashtra, where the road infrastructure is phenomenal, it doesn't serve the purpose and sometimes adds to wastage. Ministry has been kind to understand part of it now and has been approving reduction in PPCs, which is a great support, but it is one of the major reasons which was a bottleneck for majority of mega food parks to get completed. We are obviously a special purpose industrial estate with focus on food and agro processing, and it in the modern way where India is supposed to be going international class. This all these estates, the mega food parks offer a great opportunity for food processors. And when the world becomes tighter and tighter in norms, I think mega food parks will be the ones where food processing will be supported, except for very large setups where they have own companies of in 10s and 15s and 100 acres. Other smaller players will have a great support from mega food park. My concept of the mega food park, of course, every promoter has to have their own concept. And our concept was that location, location, and location. The most important and critical point for success in any mega food park is location. I mean, we have been hearing the great actress Vidya Balan say that in another movie where she said entertainment, entertainment, entertainment. You know, in a movie that is important. Similarly for food park, location is critical because in a lot of cases where food parks have been struggling, people find it difficult to reach that location, and that is why issues happen. So we have to have proximity not only to source of raw material but also to market, and the infrastructure has to support us to reach to the market. Ultimately, it's the finally finished product which has to reach the market, and unless the road infrastructure or the transport infrastructure is very good, neither can we get raw materials in time nor can we reach out to the market. Second most important thing is that promoters should find it convenient to reach the location. I mean, if we put it 200 kilometers from any city, then the promoters won't come. Until the promoters don't come, the food park is always a challenge because where do we recover the cost from? Second important point in success of any unit is policy framework. Fortunately, we have great government support, liaison, mobilizing, everything is available. Modi ji, in his first speech in 2014, said from the Lal Killa that food processing is an important sector. And I think government is conceptually trying its best to give a lot of boost to our sector, which is a great sign for all of us. I think one of the great important points is the 5 crore grant to each unit that is set up in the park. And that has given boost to a completely slack industry of ours where we are getting a lot of interest from people to come and set up their units here. The third part is infrastructure, and fourth is support structures in terms of ancillary units, labor, logistic support, etc. So I will talk about my park. Almost every park is doing the same. But the most critical thing that we can use to sell our park to promoters is that we can compare the greenfield unit or an industrial unit in any regular industrial estate and in food park. So we are offering everything: statutory approval, construction, premises, power supply, water supply, effluent treatment plants, infrastructure, and non-polluted environment. All this is available. And this helps any new industry to save 12 to 18 months in time. We also market ourselves by saying that 50% of the area normally required in any other unit is required in the food park. So we may sound to be more expensive, but we are actually more economical because they don't have to, the promoters don't have to use any space for water infrastructure or electricity. There's no cost. So that way, it's at least an 18-month saving by and large. If you go to any state in India, if somebody purchases a greenfield land and starts doing his unit, 12 to 15 months will go in getting the NA itself. So all that we are saving. And this is what has to be supported now more by the food processing industry and government of India by saying that, sharing this advantage to people. While we can say we are interested parties, if a third party says it, it's always more important. Our project fortunately has been approved by government of Gujarat also, and we've got support there. There are few parks which have got state support. Locational advantage is something which we can clearly showcase. We are just 250 kilometers from Ahmedabad, the largest city in Gujarat, and second largest city 50 kilometers away. Mumbai is 350 kilometers away. We can reach in 6 to 8 hours all the destinations. Transport vehicles can also reach in 12 hours. We are in the midst of the largest fruit and vegetable cluster in state of Gujarat and probably the best location in terms of Indian context also. We are near the hub of Gujarat vegetable growing belt from 150 kilometers Anand, and Surat is just 50 kilometers away. Even Nashik and Dhule, which are the supplies hubs for Mumbai, are just 250 kilometers away. Plus we have a export port just 80 kilometers from our unit. And that is something which can really support whatever is required in fruit and vegetable processing. Political and will and support, I have already said. Modi ji was kind enough to even take it under Pragati, and that did help the mega food park project. Leaving no stone unturned is something which even our previous minister has tried to do and get involved in whatever problems that the food parks were facing. And that is why we have reached some stage where 20 of the 37 food parks have reached fruition. And while we are not technically complete, we are practically complete. We are all aware of the important support scheme under Kisan Sampada. Now we have to hope that the unit scheme will start again. It has been put on a hold right now, as we understand, due to budgetary constraints. In Gujarat, state also is supporting in a big way. So they are giving stamp duty exemption. There is a back-ended interest subsidy up to 1.5 crores for units. There is a reimbursement of SGST scheme, so on and so forth. Power is subsidized. Electricity duty is exempted. All the support Gujarat government is also giving. Of course, everybody, all of us in the panel have operational food parks, and I think we have had the minister and chief ministers to open. I'll just share a few photographs to showcase what our food park is offering. The chief minister of Gujarat, Vijay Rupani ji. This is the CPC. Our CPC is photographed aerially. This is the park. You can see the entire park till the vision ends. And this is a warehouse and cold store. The entire warehouse has solar panels. We were the first park in India to do solar. And it is a big support in terms of reducing carbon footprint, of course, and reducing electricity bills also, which is a major contribution to the cold store and the frozen stores that we have. We have world-class state-of-the-art facilities. Our entire CPC unit is also air-conditioned and we can control temperature. We have a world-class freezer and very good pulping lines. Warehouse. We have specially designed cold storage where we can store potatoes, processable potatoes for 9 months. one very important thing was discussed yesterday is that the processable variety of crop is important for food processing. And that is what India is lacking. But processable potato we can store for 9 months in comparison to 3 to 3.5 months in any conventional cold store. The difference is that sugar formation is not required in potatoes, which starts in any other cold store. Here we have a ventilation system which we have imported from Netherlands, and that gives a lot of extra ventilation and controls carbon dioxide levels, and that is how we are able to preserve the potato for a longer season. These are all the actual photographs. We have a lot of units. In fact, we have 18 units which are already available. And probably we are one of the leaders in terms of investment. We have already commitments to the tune of 400 crores in terms of industry investment, in addition to our 125 crores. So in the tribal area of where we are located, 500 crores of investment is going to be a large support. I think we are probably the largest unit in that area. These are the units which are already completed, and a lot of them are under operation still. Thank you for your time. I'll stop the screen.
Thank you so much, sir, for the presentation and for all the information at your end.
Yes, so I mean, of course, we will discuss the important issues that Ms. Manvina Chawla ji has listed. I'll hand over the screen to the next gentleman. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. We will get back to you once all the speakers have given their introductory work. Now, I'll move on to Mr. Nand Kishore Kagliwal, and I would like to welcome him. And he's the founder chairman of the Nath Group, which is engaged in biotechnology, hybrid seeds, food, paper, and chemicals. Over to you, Mr. Kagliwal.
Good morning, everybody. I must thank Agrovision and more particularly my friend Shri Ravi Boratka for organizing this very special dialogue today. And our special thanks to him for bringing our problems of food park to Honorable Mr. Gadkari, who has so eloquently been almost a spokesperson for us in yesterday's inaugural function. Well, Pranay Bhai has very articulately described the entire concept of food park and what it can really achieve in terms of reducing wastage, adding value, and increasing farm incomes. And he very rightly said that success or failure of a food park would essentially depend on two factors. A, strategic location. When I say strategic location, it has to be A, in terms of vicinity to the markets, and simultaneously vicinity to the availability of raw materials. We are indeed as fortunate as any when it comes to strategic location. We are located in Aurangabad, which is about, and the park is about 28 kilometers from Aurangabad. Aurangabad, as you all know, is hubbing with industrial activity. Is the next destination in Maharashtra for industrial development, only next to Bombay and Pune. It has all the social infrastructure. And we are very fortunately located in terms of availability of raw materials, whether it is cereals, pulses, spices, fruits, and vegetables. Maharashtra, as you know, is one of the largest producers of all types of fruits, either largest or the second largest. Could be mangoes, banana, pomegranate, custard apple, guava, you name it. It's all plentifully available. Now, I wouldn't like to get into specifics of what type of facilities have been created. Every food park has done almost the similar thing. We have warehouses, I would say cold storages, pulping lines, IQF, juice line, a state-of-the-art accredited laboratory. And of course, very well developed plots with power, water, effluent treatment, practically everything that an integrated food processing unit would look for. So there are obvious advantages of being located. And as was rightly said, there has been a lot of encouragement by the state government and by the central government and the state government. Despite that, if this scheme, this ambitious scheme, this very well conceived scheme has not made the adequate progress, the desired progress, I think it's time for introspection. It's time for us to sit up and understand what are the real reasons and what can be the remedies. We just can't allow such an ambitious scheme where so much of investment has gone, because each project is about 150 crores. And the moment you talk of 36 projects, you are talking of investment of something like 5,400 crores. And it's a very precious resource which has to be put to proper use. So I think the next part of our discussion, we need that introspection on the reasons for slow progress, suboptimal progress, and the remedies thereof. And let me stop at this stage so that we can move on and then come back to the real questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. And definitely we'll come back to you for a more detailed discussion. And right now I am moving on to the stage to Mr. Subhash Bhattacharjee, who is the director of the Northeast Mega Food Park. Sir, can we please have you on board now?
Good morning, and my sincere thanks to the organizers to allow me to speak on behalf of the Northeast Mega Food Park. Just to speak to you on very categorically, Northeast, all of you know. And what I want to talk to you in this situation is that, is it the PPT is coming? PPT is visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, friends, all of us know about the Northeast. It evoked myriad images of warm culture, hospitality, interesting cuisine, spectacular landscape, and whatnot. But as we discuss all these things in a forum, we find that somewhere we observed a shade of loss and gloom because of the sense of monotony in the day-to-day grind. Basically, what happens, we have a qualified perpetual abeyance. The fact that enormous potential remains largely untapped even today. The present government coming up, they are really taking a lot of initiatives. Of course, the Mega Food Park in this part of the country has given a lot of impetus to come up with agro-business activities. And the main agro-processing cluster can really bring a huge hope for this region to take it forward. So what to many of you who are not जिसको अभी तक मालूम नहीं है नॉर्थ ईस्ट रीजन के बारे में, is a part of the important hub which is going to be a gold mine coming up with the Sunshine region for the food opportunities. All of you agree for that, because we have opportunities unlimited, like my predecessors are just talking, horticulture produce and all that. We have some exotic foods like kiwi fruits, passion fruits, excellent pineapples. All this together, this region has boost to really prosper, subject to they make some sort of fresh packing, fresh value addition, and also make some processing and go for finished product and all that. The strength of this region is large scale, if you think, is the organic agriculture in practice. So long, so far, it was mostly a natural or default organic. But again, the great thanks to the Honorable Prime Minister, sir, who has brought up the mission organic value chain development for the region. And that way we have got now certified organic, which probably gives a big corridor for the country to take the produces beyond Northeast to the Southeast Asian corridor and to go to the global situation. Friends, just before reaching to the Mega Food Park issues of the region, I'll just 2-3 sentences I want to share. The largest, the main stages of losses, the wastage, what is happening in the Northeast with the horticulture produces can only come up, all of us know, with the schemes Government of India has given now, Mega Food Park, and also Spice Parks is coming up. A lot of initiatives on skill development and MSME's definition offers. All this great advantage has come up. So keeping this parity in the practice, what we can think of in this part of the country is that we can think of the immune boosting products like spices, ginger, turmeric. At this pandemic situation, These has got lot of hopes to come up. And we have got excellent medicinal plants, fruits like, as I already told you, pineapple, orange, banana, jackfruit, whatnot. All these situations can really come up with the schemes given by the government of India, and all processing of horticulture crops, natural and organic, can get through this process of the schemes of Ministry of Food Processing Industries taken forward by different situations. Just to come up to just to introduce some of the fruits of Northeast. We have kiwi and queen. Queen is a table variety. Yesterday, it was elaborately discussed. Even Honorable Minister Sir Gadkari sir was talking about the specific varieties, and also later our Agriculture Minister was talking in the inaugural ceremony. So what we understood from those we have to have the commercial production, and if you go for commercial production, you have the commercial varieties. Similarly, table varieties. So we have queen variety of pineapple, which is a GI registered, geographically indication registration has already got. Kiwi is a fruit which is giving it for juice and honey production level. Like that, we have got excellent mandarin from Meghalaya of Northeast. We have this mandarin oranges which are having a GI registration. Then we have got excellent qualities of jackfruit. Beautiful jackfruit grown in Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura. We have got Chini Champa varieties and one Malbhog variety is locally tell. It is like your Sapri variety spoken in Bengal and North. So these are the two varieties which has got a lot of advantage here. And one great thing here is that's the banana called Bhimkol. Is where the number of seeds are there. That has got a lot of advantage in nutritionally. So some of the people have already started doing some sort of production level on that. We have got Kachai lemon citrus, again a GI registry product. Very good, juicy, and it has got a citrus value. It has got acidity wise, it is giving a lot of advantage for the health. Then we have got Assam lemon. Many of you must be knowing about this. Then you have got a medicinal crop, carambola, or a star fruit, grown abundantly in this part of the country. And all of us know about the tomatoes grown everywhere. But here in the hill states of Northeast, we grow tree tomato. The tree I am just incidentally showing here is the tree where the tomatoes grows. And this has got a GI registry. Also, you can make some exotic products out of it. The best pickle chutneys of tree tomatoes are excellently good in the market. We have got passion fruit. All of you know about the passion fruit producers of the Northeast. Lychee, as we talk about, we talk only about the Bihar lychee. Friends, in Assam, particularly the Tezpur area, the Tezpur lychee is by name it goes. It is a GI registry producers, which is having a very good flash content and a very small seed. And it has got a lot of advantage to go to South Asian market. Already the markets are made to the neighboring countries like Bangladesh and Bhutan, but then possible it can go to the Southeast corridor beyond. We have got excellent strawberries, all of you know. My interest to showing all of you is that basically, though I am representing Northeast Mega Food Park as an independent director of the company, but we thought we have got live 3 Mega Food Park already in the region, and investors can also plan to see the how best the production can start in those units. Already few units are running excellently well, and some more can really come. There's a perennial crops. All of you like see the bamboo shoot. Many of you must be knowing about the bamboo shoot. It has got a perennial crop. Almost every 8 states of the Northeast, it is growing. And many of the products can come out of that. Bamboo shoot has got a real advantage, and it can go to Thailand, Philippines and all that in a very better way when you go for good production. We have, many of you may not be knowing also that cashew can grow in the Northeast. Friends, cashew is growing extensively in the 2 states of Northeast, particularly Tripura and Meghalaya. And also a part of Assam, because thanks to the again government of India, they have come up for last almost more than 1.5 decade. MIDS scheme, Mission on Integrated Development Horticulture. There the cashew apple has come in a very cashew plant has come in a very big way. We can think already cashew processing lines are happening, but cashew apple can also be utilized for some other product line in the juice manufacturers. So these nuts are really leaf making. It has got a medicinal value and nutrition value. Number 2 is that when you bite it, at the end you will find a sweet tinge on this. Friends, thinking about ginger, turmeric and all that for the Northeast in the pandemic situation, many of you already must be very much familiar. We have a ginger all throughout the 8 states, but the Karbi Anglong ginger of Assam has got a GI registration already done, and anyone can think of some processing units on that. Some of the processing units are dealing on ginger paste, ginger candy and other things. And probably for the Southeast Asian markets, we can think of ginger candy, crystallized ginger, or ginger preserve. All these things can go very well. Excellent quality of turmeric. If you think the average curcumin content of turmeric is around 5 to 6% in Northeast, and we have a specialized variety called Lacatang, which gives turmeric curcumin content to the extent of 7, 8, even 9% to some extent. So that way we can really make lot of advantage of the Joram Food Park and Mega Food Park we have, or Tripura Food Park, where these situations, many of you must be seeing, if you open YouTube or your Instagram or other things, Facebook and all that, Zizira group, a young group, we have already started marketing the Lacatang turmeric in a very big way. They are doing fresh processing and sending it. But then in a very big way, investment can come, particularly for this, because Meghalaya government has started a Lacatang mission, and they are growing 3 times more production to the level of production presently they have. So that way, there are a lot of hopes for the industry to come up. And pandemic has given us a boon to see that this industry can really sustain and give a lot of value to our farmers and producers. King chili, many of you must be knowing the Naga Mircha or a Bhuj Jalokia openly said. Of course, a lot of products of it is going from the Northeast exported. It is again a GI registry product from Nagaland state, and this has got a lot of potentials to go for different range of producers. Large cardamom, growing abundantly in Sikkim, 100% organic state. Other states are on the plow to climbing up. It is again a GI registry product. So my idea of talking to you is that we are naturally organic, trying to go with the Government of India scheme to come to this third-party certification to get 100% organic under the mission mode. We have lot of GI registered producers, and excellently to speak about, we have potential medicinal plants in this part of the country. Just listed few. In case the organizer aggravation wants, they can share the PPT also, so that a lot of evokes can come, and then people can really come up in this situation to set up some industries. These are medicinal plants growing across Northeast. And friends, these are the GI registry products. We have so far 14 horticulture producers from the Northeast, which are geographical indication registration have been received. And with this, probably a lot of investors will be interested to have a global market on that. As you know, GI registration with basmati rice or Assam tea like that. We have a lot of situations which has got GI and got a lot of good market across the globe. Probably we can think of those. And this is my earlier company where I have retired 2 years back. During that time, we did GI registration of around 12 horticulture crops from our company and 2 by the respective state governments. So 14 horticulture crops of the Northeast are already GI registered. And organic and superfood, we are marketing to different exhibitions. We are taking up the one brand of organic Northeast in a very large way. Probably you can end up on that, or you can also like to set up some of your certified organic brand line. So why I want to share here is that mission mode, which is started for organic, can really sustain and give you a lot of impetus to take forward. If you see the area and organic certification in Northeast, in conversion and in hectare, this column if you see, presently we have this much of organic hectare, organic certified product areas, and these are under conversion. So by the process of another 2 years, you'll find C1, C2, C3 stages coming, and you can become 100% organic to market it with a certificate. Friends, all of you know this production commodity centric in Northeast because of hilly terrain and all that. Our productions are in pockets, and we need to develop clusters, and that cluster development is possible organically. We are trying to do that, and there also besides our ministry food processing scheme, Government of India scheme under MOBCD is giving 75% grant to put up processing units. If you put up those processing units through your own FPCs, organic FPCs, you get 75% grant. In case you don't want to put up of your own, some private people come over there, they get 50% grant. So all this together, this processing has got lot of possibilities in this part of the country. And the virtual thing is that when we're discussing all this in virtual mode, we want to share also, in case you have some sort of possibilities to set up some pack houses. What yesterday when we were talking, our horticulture commissioner was talking, there is a huge gap of the pack houses across. Similar is the case in this part of the country also. So what we need to do is that we set up number of pack houses and also make some packaging center to take it the value chain marketing in a proper way. So as you all of us know, branding, labeling, and packaging is a part of the any agri business or any sort of business. And our organic food can really make a breakthrough all this through these bindings. To the situation, to cover up the situation, friends, the mega food parks so far identified thus for these areas are 6, and out of these 3 are functional. Functional units are my Northeast Mega Food Park, which I represented the independent director. Then there is one Tripura Mega Food Park, or many commonly known as Sikaria Mega Food Park. Then last July 20, our ex-Honorable Madam Minister Badal Madam has inaugurated the 20th July 2020 Zoram Mega Food Park. Besides that, 3 more agro-processing clusters are coming up. And incidentally, last fortnight, Meghalaya, 1 more mega food park has been added. In principle, approval has been given by the ministry, and 1 more agro-processing cluster. So that way, we are having in skew around 7 mega food parks, and already 3 are APCs are there, and 1 more APCs are coming. So friends, my friends who are over here, industrialists or business group or the farmer producers who really like to take forward the producers of Northeast and can come up and come for a very good business in this part of the country. This is the Northeast Mega Food Park I am representing, and as already my predecessor already told, Prabodh ji bhi bataya ki how best the mega food parks are functioning. The similar possibilities are available. The concepts are same, so I need not go elaborately on that. These are common facility buildings. Then we have got QCS, standard design factories are there, cold storage are there, wastewater treatment plants, power houses, way bridges, warehouse buildings, and some of out of this around 12 units in Northeast Mega Food Park are functioning. There are processing federal Duke products. Then we have produced from Sona Gold. PL Industries has come up with a product line. Assam Agrotech is being dehydrated for vegetables. There are some of the products of them. And Salai Agro products has set up their facilities. Northeast Mega Food Park. Ravi Foods is there. So that way, and besides that, we have 2 primary processing centers catering to this particular mega food park. One is in Sonarigaon and one is in Saigaon. So these 2 are giving the input supplies to the processing plants over in the mega food park. The status is like this, as I told you, already 8 functional and 6 are on the pipeline. So Sampada schemes, 4 of them taken, and some of them come up with the beverage units and other for the applied for the Kisan Sampada scheme. This is a Tripura Mega Food Park, commonly known as Sikaria Mega Food Park. This is also an investment comes around 85 crore, and they have taken a lot of advantage to set up. Mainly the rice mills are coming in the Tripura Mega Food Park. And one interesting thing I want to share over here is that they are trying to bring up the railway sidings and warehousing infrastructure linking with the Mega Food Park there. So that because Chattogram port is coming to a clearance, and very soon, another 2 years, we'll have a railway line from Agartala to Bangladesh. So that way, we can really make a very good access. And Concor is also tied up with the Container Corporation of India, or tied up with this mega food park to upcoming railway sidings and warehousing infrastructure there. And there is one more interesting thing happening in the Tripura Mega Food Park is that they are putting up the upcoming gas pipeline network of TNGCL is linking with that. So these 2 are the more advantages which you can know from me, and in case you are interested, I will share my contact number and mail ID. You can go for more details on these things. So these particularly the industrial plots of food processing units of Tripura Mega Food Park. Already 8 units are functioning, and another 3 are in the pipeline. The Zoram Food Park, as I just now told you, in July 2020, the madam has our earlier cabinet minister, Madam Badal Madam, has inaugurated that, and Zoram Food Park has started functioning. Basically, they are working on passion fruit, ginger, turmeric, and pineapple, and miso chili. Again, miso chili, the bird's eye chilies, is like GI registry product from this part of the country. So these are the mega food park from Mizoram. They are similar to other facilities. They have a CPC. They have got the warehouses, ripening chambers, and other things as per the format of the mega food park. And the primary processing centers in 3 locations they have planned up. One is Sarchip district from central Mizoram, and the southern Mizoram and Lungle district, extremely borderline, and eastern Mizoram, Champhai district. So these three together are fitting the proposed to fit the this mega food park, Zoram Mega Food Park. So the way forward in this few sentences, I just want to share with you the different schemes of Government of India, including the Mega Food Park scheme, can bring a huge change by making value addition and processing in this part of the country. The Northeast region, all of you will agree that the process of getting certified organic will be a real bonus for us. And Government of India's trust under a mission mode really make us a huge success. And friends, natural and organic foods has got a lot of impetus everywhere across. Allied groups are already aware of it. And with this post-COVID situation, even the general household people have also understood to have a safe food and all this together. Yesterday, Prabhat Halde also spoke about the few of the post-COVID situations, what we need to take forward. And probably Northeast can give a win-win situation for all of us to see that our vision of Government of India and Honorable Prime Minister to take forward doubling farmers' income can happen. And as our Honorable PM says, this is the photograph you could see. Honorable PM, when the Sikkim was declared 100% organic state, the products which has been displayed to him, and he was sharing to declare the MOBCD scheme later. So the objectively the vocal for local for the Northeast, and with the food safety protocol, which is a must, probably we from the Northeast with the mega food parks now 6+1 coming up 7 and 3+1 APC, 4 APCs can really bring a big hand to the farmers and producers to bring doubling farmers income in a very big way. Friends, we invite all of you to come to Northeast for business. We have got this mega food park. Though I represent Northeast Mega Food Park, with these few slides, I want to openly welcome all of you to any of the 3 existing running mega food park, or even the another upcoming 4 mega food park coming up. Thank you, everybody. And my contact number and mail ID is given here. Thank you, friends. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, Mr.
In case you have any questions, so we'll be able to discuss. Thank you.
Yes, definitely we'll get back to you, Mr. Bhattacharya ji, for all the questions. And as you have rightly said, be local. So be vocal for local, of course.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
yes, I now invite the next speaker on board, which is Mr. Sukhinder Singh, who is the director of the International Mega Food Park. Can we please have you on board, sir?
Sound is not coming.
So you're audible, sir.
We can hear you, sir.
Sir, we can't hear.
We can hear you, sir.
हे बेटा
Sukhinder ji, we really cannot hear you. Can you just repeat again? Manveena?
Yes, we're trying to connect with him, but I think it's not audible.
Okay.
Should we come back to him later and move to the next speaker?
Yes, maybe we can move on to the next speaker.
Right. So, and then come back to him and check with him again, maybe. Yes, so in the present situation now, let me welcome the next speaker that we have on board with us is Dr. Sanjay Singh Parmar, who's the Chief Executive Officer of the Cremica Food Park. Sir, can we have you on board, please?
Good morning, all of you. Hello.
Yes, sir, you're audible. Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, all of you. My sincere thanks to the organizer to considering the Cremica Food Park in AgroVision as a participant. Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir. Please go ahead.
ओके मैम. हमारा क्रीमका फूड पार्क जनवरी 2019 में इनोवेट हुआ मैडम हरसिमरत कौर बादल के द्वारा. हमारा टोटल एरिया जो क्रीमका फूड पार्क का जो टोटल एरिया है वो 52.38 एकड़ है. इसमें से जो लीजेबल एरिया है हमारे पास 23 एकड़्स. टोटल नंबर ऑफ प्लॉट्स जो है क्रीमिका फूड पार्क में 30 थे. आउट ऑफ 30, 27 is already allotted. Now we have only 3 plot left. Plots in acre around 21 एकड़ ऑलरेडी अलॉट हो गए हैं और 2 एकड़ अभी बचे हुए हैं प्लॉट्स हमारे. टोटल जो अभी तक इन्वेस्टमेंट आया है यूनिट्स के थ्रू जो ऑलरेडी अप्रूव्ड है अंडर किसान संपदा योजना मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ MOPI के अंडर 71 करोड़ के और 23 करोड़ के अभी पेंडिंग है वहां पे अप्रूवल. तो ऑलमोस्ट 98 करोड़ का इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑलमोस्ट आ चुका है. उसमें से 6 इंडस्ट्रीज हैं जो मेजर NSC रोटोफ्लेक्स जो एप्पल जूस कंसंट्रेट बनाते हैं पिछले 2 साल से ऑपरेशनल है और लास्ट ईयर भी उन्होंने करीब 700 मैट्रिक टन एप्पल जूस कंसंट्रेट बनाया था. इस साल उनका 875 मैट्रिक टन हुआ है एप्पल जूस कंसंट्रेट. ऑलमोस्ट करीब 16-17 हजार मैट्रिक टन एप्पल उन्होंने प्रोसेस किया वहां पे. नेक्स्ट कंपनी है ऊना मिरेकल जो कि जैम मेयोनीज बनाती है. ये ऑपरेशनल हो गई पिछले लास्ट मंथ ये ऑपरेशनल हुई है. इनका इन्वेस्टमेंट है करीब 15.2 करोड़ के आसपास. तीसरी कंपनी है ट्रस्टेबल फूड प्राइवेट लिमिटेड जिनका इन्वेस्टमेंट है 17.81 करोड़. ये ऑलरेडी इसमें पिकल्स में है. इनकी यूनिट भी ऑपरेशनल होने वाली है नेक्स्ट मंथ. नेक्स्ट यूनिट है मिस्टर जेफ बेवरेज. ये अभी इनका अप्रूवल हुआ है मिनिस्ट्री से फूड प्रोसेसिंग से. इनका भी प्रोजेक्ट है 19.81 करोड़ का. अगली यूनिट्स है एग्रीवा नेचुरल्स. इनका TC कंफर्म क्लियर हो गई है और फाइनल अप्रूवल अभी पेंडिंग है मिनिस्ट्री में. इनका भी प्रोजेक्ट 17.38 करोड़ का है और हमारे पास टोटल जो इन्वेस्टमेंट आ गया वो 98 करोड़ के हैं. इसमें से 3 यूनिट्स ऑलरेडी ऑपरेशनल है. हमारी जो क्रीमिका फूड पार्क का जो अपना टमाटो पेस्ट प्लांट है इसकी कैपेसिटी है 28 मैट्रिक टन पर आवर. तो ये करीब 700 मैट्रिक टन पर डे कैपेसिटी है. अभी कोविड-19 के सिचुएशन में जब टमाटर का रेट्स यहाँ पे 1 रुपए 1.5 रुपए हो गए थे, किसान परेशान थे, तो हम लोगों ने उनको एवरेज रेट करीब 6.5 रुपए देख के 30,000 मैट्रिक टन टमाटर प्रोसेस किया इन 45 डेज में. जैसे प्रणव साहब ने बता रहे थे सारे फूड पार्क का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ऑलमोस्ट सेम है. हमारे पास भी 3 PPC है. एक है कांगड़ा डिस्ट्रिक्ट में, दूसरी है सोलन में, तीसरी है मंडी में, जहाँ पे हम लोग प्राइमरी प्रोसेसिंग करके मटेरियल्स लेते हैं. लेकिन हिमाचल में क्या है कि एरिया बहुत छोटा है, तो इसलिए क्या होता है कि मोस्टली लोग फार्मर्स या ट्रेडर्स ना डायरेक्टली सप्लाई करते हैं CPC में ही अपने फूड प्रोडक्ट्स को. इसकी कनेक्टिविटी जो है बाय एयर जो है चंडीगढ़ एयरपोर्ट से 130 किलोमीटर है, जालंधर एयरपोर्ट से 80 किलोमीटर है, अमृतसर एयरपोर्ट से करीब 250 किलोमीटर है। बाय रेल जो है नांगल रेलवे स्टेशन जो नियरेस्ट है वो करीब 12 किलोमीटर है, और ऊना रेलवे स्टेशन करीब 15 किलोमीटर है यहाँ पे। हिमाचल में सबसे ज्यादा एप्पल होता है और एक्सोटिक फ्रूट्स बहुत हैं, प्लम है, पीच है, वेजिटेबल में कलीफ्लावर है, पीज है, टोमेटो है, पोटैटो है। ये सारे यूनिट्स जो ये फूड एंड वेजिटेबल का, और हमारी जो चूंकि हमारा फूड पार्क में बॉर्डर पे है, तो ये पंजाब, हिमाचल और हरियाणा, हम लोग तीनों स्टेट को कैटर कर पा रहे हैं इस समय। जो अपने पिकल्स की यूनिट है, ये बहुत सारे प्रोडक्ट्स हरियाणा से ले रहे हैं अपने, बहुत सारे जो इन्होंने पंजाब से लिया है। जो पोटैटो चिप्स की यूनिट है वो पोटैटो इन्होंने कुछ पंजाब से, कुछ लोकल हिमाचल से ले रहे हैं। हेलो हेलो
Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir.
तो ये हमारे टोटल फूड पार्क का जो इन्वेस्टमेंट है करीब अब तक जो हो चुका है वो करीब 170-80 करोड़ के आसपास हो चुका है टोटल इन्वेस्टमेंट। और इसकी कनेक्टिविटी बहुत अच्छी है। इसके हॉर्टिकल्चर जोन, नॉन हॉर्टिकल्चर जोन सारे वेल डेवलप्ड है यहाँ पे बहुत। और इसमें दो एग्रो प्रोसेसिंग क्लस्टर के लिए भी लोगों ने अप्लाई किया हमारे फूड पार्क के अंदर। अभी मिनिस्ट्री से उनके अप्रूवल पेंडिंग पड़े हुए हैं वहां पे। दिस इज ऑल अबाउट द क्रीम का फूड पार्क। थैंक यू मैम।
Thank you so much, Dr. Parmar. And we'll go ahead with our session with a few questions, which are part of the panel discussion with all the speakers. Now, since all of you have shared the developments which are happening at your end at the various mega food parks, now let's flip the coin and see what are the major bottlenecks which are associated with the implementation of these mega food parks. Of course, there will be a lot at one place, a few at other places. So I will direct this question first to Mr. Pranav Doshi. So would you like to list a few major bottlenecks which are associated normally with the implementation of the mega food parks?
Yes, and of course there are fellow participants who will probably have some more things to add. But let me start with two things. One is your first question for the panel, which is why is the progress of mega food parks slow?
Yes.
So, I mean, slow is a matter of perception and also a matter of keeping goals. As most of us will agree, not a single mega food park has happened within below 5 years. Nothing has happened below 48 months. However, the mega food park scheme has continued with its target of 30 months. Now, when we settle targets which are unrealistic, that is the first thing that gives space to frustration. After so much learning over almost 12 years now, where some parks have taken 7, 8, 9, 10 years, the ministry still insists on keeping the deadline as 30 months. It's impractical, not only in terms of the execution time, it's basically impractical in the Indian context. While we have a lot of discussion on single window clearance, everybody knows that there is no single window here. I mean, there are windows within windows within windows. And so unless we face reality, the ministry faces reality. And what happens is the ministry faces a lot of criticism from sometimes the Prime Minister's office, sometimes the MPs in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha because of the delay in outcome. But the reality is that they need to change the deadline. They need to make it minimum 4 to 5 years. Any infrastructure project has to take minimum 5 to 7 years. Even if you see RBI, I mean, RBI typically gives 9 years to infrastructure projects. But because of these unrealistic timelines, RBI restricted mega food park loans to 7 years. Something which is not practically possible. Now going on to the bottlenecks, I think there are bottlenecks have to be structured into various subgroups. So one of the so it will be the bottlenecks are on basis of statutory approvals. A, on terms of banking and the way the banks restrict support to financial support to food parks and units, see the economic scenario in general. What we have seen in last 2 years has been a really slow economy. Fortunately for food processing, I think Corona has come as a slight bit of respite. For the guidelines itself, and more importantly, the personalized interpretation and mood swings that we see in changing people in the ministry. So every person has his own personal interpretation and moods, and this is something which has really badly affected the system. Just to give an example, we have 13 mega food parks which have been inaugurated since last 2.5 years. All of us are operational. All of us are able to give output, make earnings. However, technically we are incomplete, and this is how we have been deprived of the last installment of the grant. Unfortunately, grant forms part of the means of finance, and that is why it's a chicken and egg situation where we are not able to get into the details. So I'll give very quickly, I'll add 2-3 things. Number one, statutory approvals. This government is very focused on making everybody disciplined and bringing control to chaos. A great goal, and I think we have done very well in terms of many of the challenges that we've been facing, right from Aadhaar to all the statutory controls that come in. But then authorities down below, the goal is great. Authorities down below sometimes create challenges. I'll give 2 examples, both related to NGT and environment. NGT took a suo motu recognition of highly polluted areas in India. And Central Pollution Control Board, which is supposed to be the monitoring authority, went ahead and did research in 100 top polluted industrial areas in India and gave the recommendation to NGT. Unfortunately, in the report, they named districts instead of the locations. And that is why all over India, 100 districts were declared as somewhere they will not give any further industrial approval in orange and red categories.
Okay.
A lot of food processing units come in orange category. Some states went overzealous and started implementing from day one. And I think at least in Gujarat, we had to wait 6 months for people to realize that, oh, there is a problem. It's not the district which is an issue. Like in our food park, Surat, 2 areas were a problem. We are 100 kilometers away, but still no approvals were being granted. Finally, a lot of representation and things changed. Similarly, we are presently facing a situation. Can you mute the mic, please? There is a lot of disturbance, so please mute all the other participants' mic.
Yes, other participants, please make sure that the mics are off at your end. Thank you.
Yeah. Recently we applied. So we've applied to Central Groundwater Authority. Recently, there is a notification in September where government says that every housing society will also need, approval from CGWA. Now, CGWA has taken 2.5 years to respond to us for our application. The process takes 2.5 years. And then we get a letter initially saying that please deposit the amount as per attached letter within 15 days or the proposed approval shall stand automatically cancelled. There is no amount given, there is no letter attached. So we approach them. And so after a week, we get a letter saying that please deposit 45 lakhs. No explanation. When we work backwards, it is a payment for 3 years of total withdrawal of water. We wanted 14 lakh liters of water per day. That we are supposed to pay at 3 rupees a day. Considering 360 days in a year, no industrial establishment works more than 250 to 280 days average in India, everybody knows. Because there are 52 days of electrical shutdown. But we have to pay for 360 days, 100% drawal on day one. There is a situation where they say that if all your, if you have a recharging well as per requirements, and all those things are taken care of, they'll give a 50% concession in charges. That means on day one, I'm supposed to pay money for, we have all the facilities in place. We are probably a green park. And still we have, so now we are required to pay a amount for 6 years together. I mean, how does this convert to ease of doing business? Today, later on in the day, I have a call with World Bank and I think EY, where the same issue is being discussed, ease of doing business. And when we have responded to them, last 21 days, I have no answer. So technically, I crossed the 15-day mark, and so I don't have a groundwater draw approval. I mean, this is how. So in reality, on ground, probably we need not only Ministry of Food Processing Industries, but as Gadkari Sahab rightly said yesterday, maybe there is a need to have a council which supports food processing and farmers and comes up with things where there has to be a deadline on every approval that has to be given. Like we have deadlines on everything. We have a deadline on submission of TDS, on submission of this, that, and there are hundreds of millions of penalties that people are paying nowadays. Maybe there has to be a counter where finally this strong government can put in place guidelines for all their departments, and deemed approval should be granted in case they are not able to respond within a due time. This is my submission. If we want food park or any other industrial parks to succeed within timelines, approvals will have to be granted. Banks, of course, are another challenge which other people would like to talk about. We are okay. I think NABARD offered a lot of challenges in the beginning, but now they've become very smooth and quite supportive. So yes, I mean, that is good enough. Economic scenario is something where government has also worked very hard, tried to come out with support packages even in COVID. And slowly, I believe people will discount COVID as one of the factors which are going to happen and move on. Because our park had phenomenal investments in pre-COVID scenario. But after COVID, we have been only able to bring in 3 units and been able to offer 2 acres of land. I mean, this. So whether people say that there is an improvement in food processing, parks definitely must be facing some sort of challenge. I think I can hand it over to Kagliwal ji, probably, who will give some more thought on, the delays, so-called.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Doshi. And of course, ease of doing business is something that everyone is looking for. So over to you, Mr. Kagliwal. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, thank you. In the lighter vein, let me put it this way. Today, we are looking for reducing the pain of doing business. Forget about ease of doing business. There is a struggle at every stage. There is an obstacle race that an entrepreneur has to encounter day in and day out. Well, let me first touch upon the first point that Pranav made, that these mega food parks are essentially an infrastructure type of projects where it would take almost 5 years for implementation and may take another 5 years for the total fulfillment in terms of fruition, in terms of their full utilization. And this fact must be borne in mind by all those who are responsible for policy formulation at all stages. Now, frankly, in our country, we have to deal with plethora of legislation and umpteen number of agencies day in and day out. If you talk of food park, very briefly, you start with land aggregation, conversion of that land into NA. Then there is approval of layout. There are challenges on account of water, power, environmental clearance. I mean, this is very surprising. Food processing is supposed to be something which is environment friendly and totally environment friendly. It's an extension of agricultural activity. But all the same, we require environmental clearance. Then pollution control. It just goes on and on. Very interestingly, very recently, we encountered in Aurangabad, in our food park, we found that land was duly converted into NA. It's a central government sponsored project, supported by state government, and FSI allowed for construction is only 10%. That means if you have an acre of land, all the construction that is allowed is just 4,000 square feet. I mean, that was a jolt from blue. They say, well, your food park is located in an agricultural zone, and in an agricultural zone, that is what is permissible. The fact remains that you are already given permission to establish a food park. It's already converted into NA. Okay, the issue would be sorted out, but then everything becomes a project unto itself. And all this leads to all types of delays. This sounds very funny, but that's a fact that in a progressive state like Maharashtra, FSI for a land which is already converted for industrial use with due permissions, the FSI allowed is only 10%. It has to be at par with whatever, it is 1:1 in most of the states. Now, coming back to what I was saying, that when you implement a project like Mega Food Park, where a massive investment is going to be made, like I said, 36 parks, 5,400 crores, basic investment, which can ignite or catalyze investment, which is 10 times more than this. So you're talking of fairly good amounts. There has to be a total buy-in by the state governments. Central government ought to get all state governments together, their industry secretaries, their agricultural secretaries, or chief secretaries for that matter, and say, if we are sanctioning these two projects for this particular state, this is what is minimum that is expected of you to do, and there is a commitment to that effect. That can possibly reduce hassles, that can possibly save time. Similarly, at the central level, at the Ministry of Food Processing level, there seems to be a perception that somehow entrepreneurs who have invested 5 years of their hard effort and maybe more than 75-80 crores rupees of their own funds by way of equity or term loans, in addition to whatever grant that the government gives, are somehow not keen on promoting the footpaths, as if they are sitting on a piece of land. The fact remains that the interest meter keeps on going, the installments become due, day in and day out, there is a financial stress, and perception seems to be in the central government, in the Ministry of Food Processing, that somehow the promoters are not keen. It just can't happen. If, despite best efforts, investment in the parks is slow, other investors are not coming in, there are other reasons to find. It is basically the credit crunch. All of us know what our banking system went through. They have become extremely cautious. They insist on 100% collateral. Now, in a situation like this, obviously there has been lukewarm response. So my submission is that there has to be a total buy-in by the state government. There has to be a continuous dialogue with the promoters. Unfortunately, despite repeated requests, there has not been any collective dialogue with all mega food promoters. I mean, this ought to be done at least on quarterly basis, so that people in central government know what is the reality and how to go about it. The need is for very flexible, practical, forward-looking, pragmatic approach. We just can't go by the rule book. Otherwise, the project entire thing goes haywire. Second thing is the Samta scheme cannot be off and on. I mean, it has to be on tap if the mega food park scheme has to become really vibrant. And on the credit front, again, government may have to come up with some sort of a guarantee, as was given to MSMEs, that up to X crores, maybe 3 crores, there can be insurance given to the bank, there can be an insurance premium, and the loans can be guaranteed, so that at least collaterals can be done away with. Now, these are some of the suggestions so far as ensuring that the investment and efforts which are gone into food parks and the potential that they have to transform rural economy, to bring about a degree of prosperity to our farming community. This dream really realizes, and we get the benefit out of the projects which are already there and which are under implementation. Well, these are my primary thoughts, and we are open for discussion on this.
Ma'am, if permitted, I would just like to complete and continue what Kagliwalji said and I had started with.
Yes.
On the guidelines front, there is one thing which even Gadkariji was kind enough to mention. There is a 18% GST on leasing of plots. and ministry insists on leasing. Fact of the matter is that the guidelines do not prevent sale, but one officer, one fine day, somewhere along the line, 7, 8, 10 years ago, or 5, whatever time period that was there, decided that nahi, hum log sale nahi karne denge, lease karenge. There was a gentleman in the ministry, I would not like to name, who decided that we will not permit sale. This became the norm. And minister after minister we have represented, but somehow they always say, nahi, yaar, bechne to nahi de sakte hain. There is some problem with that. What is the problem? Nobody knows. Guidelines is there. Anyway, Gadkari Sahab has requested, but the real fact is that guidelines don't prevent, but it's the officers who have decided to prevent. And this is how.
Pranab bhai, I'm just interrupting. In one of the schemes of the Ministry of Food Processing, sale is allowed.
Yes.
Yeah. So if one of your scheme can allow sale, why not the other scheme? That's the point.
That's a mini food park scheme actually, as they call it.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Yes, sir. Most welcome.
Okay, can I have my 2 bits? I'll
Yes, sir, please.
start from the very beginning. Well, thank you everybody up here. International Mega Food Park was one of the first few parks that were being set up in this country. I set it up intentionally in a rural area. At that time, the ministry and all well-wishers were insisting that I put it up next to cities. I stood by my commitment. I said all farmers who cultivate land next to the cities have a ready market in the mandis. It is in the rural areas, basically, and that is where I presumed the ministry's thrust was, and then they eventually agreed. And I put this up in a rural area on 55 acres, which were my own. I'm basically a farmer. I was in the Air Force, and we are also it's considered a border area also. Anyhow, I put up a power plant up there using agriculture waste. I got a milk plant. I got a frozen vegetable line. I got silos, and of course the other infrastructures. The concept was also eventually, if you take money, you have to pay it back. That was vis-a-vis the banks. And all these verticals that I had were sort of self-generating and were supposed to be making money. Part of the, at that time, the policies were quite liberal and I think well thought through. Now, like as speaker after speaker have been highlighting, the ministry seems to be changing its goalposts all the time, depending on the whims and fancies of the bureaucrat who comes there, his perceptions, his likes, and of course, then that becomes a policy. And, you know, the entrepreneurs or the promoters of the mega food parks are fighting with their backs to the wall. And this one has seen, basically, as far as what we were talking about now, the leasing of land and the likes. My point with them was, are you looking for industries to come up there, or are you only interested in having these lands leased out? I said to have it leased out is the most simple thing as far as I'm concerned, because any person would come, I've got power, I've got land, I've got sewer, I've got water. He can put up a residence up there. But is that the objective? I said, this is in a rural area. Industry is not like electricity. You switch it on and it comes immediately. The infrastructure has to be well established over a period of time. And industry will naturally come there. We have to build the infrastructure, and that is what the original concept of these mega food parks was, to create an infrastructure where industry would automatically come. So in this, I have managed, it's not I have managed, because of the infrastructure, I have got a company that is invested more than the whole project cost, that is Schreiber. And now the ministry is saying, but that is of no consequence here. I said, what are you looking for here? I mean, I don't know where you want, the promoters of the mega food parks to go. I have got an investor there, or a party in there, or who invested more than the whole project itself. And you're not happy with that? You want me to sell half an acre here or 1 acre there. Now, as they're saying, you want it leased out, which is impossible. We have small-scale industrialists coming there because of its place in a rural area. So we have that, and I think the ministry, if you ask me, must revisit its policies. There's a, you think of an idea, but you don't have to be stuck in the same groove. You learn by experience. Now, you got 40, 45 mega food parks. I want to know how many are successful. I don't even think 5 or 10%. Is the ministry or the country happy with that? I won't be happy. So I think this whole thing should be revisited. The concept is a beautiful concept, but we have to change with the times and with experience. Like somebody pointed out, actually these PPCs in places where the infrastructure is there are quite useless. It doesn't take more than 2 hours for a person to bring his produce through the CPC. So what is the idea of double handling? Double costs, triple costs. Managing a 2 to 5 acre plot, you got your manpower there, you got your power, you spent so much on infrastructure, but is it worth it? So these are the sort of things I think the ministry should revisit. Then the second aspect, as has been pointed out, is the finances. The banks are actually not bankers any longer, if you ask me. They are money lenders. You put the collateral there, they'll give you the money. You don't have the collateral, thank you very much. Nobody looks at the project. As I said earlier, say 30, 40 years ago, there was only 2 ways of getting money here. Either you had a contact or you bribed the person. Today, nobody will give you money until there's a collateral there, because everybody's frightened. They're not bankers any longer. They're money lenders. And this concept of financing mega food parks, again, that has been pointed out, has to be also talked to the bankers. What are we looking for? How are we looking for? Earlier, one was paying 14 to 15%. I just worked it out. The banks have taken nearly even 25, 26% from me. And what are you doing there? You're struggling because you're committed to a cause, you're committed to the thing, and you're held to ransom here. The banks, in 2015-16, one realized that, we are not making the money that we're supposed to. So we went to the banks to have it rescheduled and restructured. They had 2 TV studies done. And I paid for that. I paid nearly 70, 80 lakhs for that. And what was it? Thrown out of the window. On the table, they say, yes, it's a very good thing, we must do it. But then the management at the top level says, they don't say anything. So what has happened? Today, we have gone to NCLT. There's a fixed income coming in of over 10 crores. There's a fixed deposit there. And nobody is appreciating the fact that a dead industry is still producing money. This is what one has managed to create there. But the banks and the ministry and everybody, I have written to the finance minister, I have written to Mr. Gadkari, I have written to the Minister of Food Processing. But what this, it's sort of hitting your head against the wall here. So what are we doing now? We are fighting our cases in the court, and productivity, mega food park concept, everybody says, damn it, who the hell is interested? We are talking up here and nobody is interested. This is good for industry. So, and I want to know, we are all sitting here, how many mega food parks are successful? The bottom line is, are you paying your money? Or we philanthropists here? We are not government or we are not philanthropists. We are businessmen. But except for the very large players that are in the game, there are very few that are successful. And nobody is actually seeing that. So that is my sort of submission to the ministry and to the banks. Why don't we all sit down together and sort of have brainstorming sessions? How to make this good idea successful? I put up silos, and FCI is not taking it here. And I have shown it to them that it's much cheaper to store here than in the open. But who do I go to? I've again written to everybody, but the system is so warped or corrupt, if you want to call it, that everything is going to go down. So, as one used to say in the Air Force or whatever it is, we better pull up our socks and see reality and then act according to it. And of course, coming back to the infrastructure, like Mr. Doshi was saying, is the availability of water. The food processing industries takes, it consumes more water than the product. So we have to be, again, the government has to have a pragmatic view on this, see what it wants. Water resources and water this thing is very important. Actually, which I had done, is we have sort of water collection and recharging the soil. This can be put across in the ministry. We've got so many rooftops up there. If we can recharge the soil, we can take out so much more. But these are things that have to be discussed across the table, and everybody has to take a pragmatic view on these things. I would also suggest, which Mr. Doshi was sort of part of it earlier, that actually the food parks should have an association, and which would help everybody, because here everything only works through associations and the likes. So if we have an association, I'm sure we could put our point of view across much better. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, sir. Indeed, those were very wonderful suggestions that you have given. And now I would like to direct another question to Mr. Bhattacharjee. That is regarding two important objectives of the mega food parks has been on the reduction of the post-harvest loss and the increase in employment generation. Do you think these objectives are being handled well, or again there are bottlenecks in these objectives as well? So we can't hear you. Can you please check your mic? Yeah, now it's better, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, well, my two predecessors just now has spoken on the merits and whatever demerits, whatever it is, line up. So thinking on those issues, particularly employment generation, yes, in the northeast part of it, when there is hardly any employment, so any sort of processing unit coming up in whatever sector, coming to our region, it is got a lot of impetus, no doubt. But the issue with us was to get enough of land to put up a mega food park. That's why the whole situation got delayed in this part of the country. So ultimately, with lot of voices in the Ministry of Food Processing, ultimately the agro-processing cluster has come, the scheme has come. So hopefully those clusters can also take with objectively the employment generation part, what you told, to some extent, yes, it has helped us in this part of the country. But pan India, probably my other friends from the mega food park will be able to give the best communication. Any other point you asked me, madam?
Yes, the other is on the reduction in the post-harvest loss.
Yes. To a great extent. Suppose in my Northeast Mega Food Park itself, we say there is a River Valley Foods has come with a fruit canning plant. Then there is a juice plant. Already fruit juices, this hygiene beverages there. Then dehydrated this Assam Agrotech has started about dehydration of units. So all this together, some of the fruits and vegetables. Otherwise, in this part of the country, against the CFAT average of around 14 to 18%, our wastage is plus 40% as per the Agriculture University Jorhat's estimate. So that way, really, any sort of processing units, exclusively mega food park mat boliya, whatever value addition is possible, it can reduce the losses to a great extent. Like my earlier company Naramac, we used to make pineapple juice concentrate, and we supplied for more than 2 decades frozen concentrate to Dabur Nepal, who used to really market it again as Tetra Pak, come as a real brand to the country. Similarly, our this indoor plant of this Godrej Jumpin. So like that, the processing and value addition, as the thumb rule goes, it really reduces the wastage. And Northeast value addition is the main criteria because most of the difficult terrains are available. So farmers don't able to really make sort of bringing the producers together in a longer distance. A lot of transport hazards and whatnot. Hilly terrain and all this is there. So that way wastage can considerably reduce by any sort of processing on value addition. Like presently this ODOP program has come now, Atmanirbhar Bharat. We are in every district, every product they are identifying. But we have, of course, from our industry federation, we have proposed to the government, why not you identify 2-3 districts together, because our productions are in pockets and the volume doesn't come. So that way, of course, the discussions are on, but then in the pending that process, the value addition part on ODOP is also been taken forward. So rightly, wastage can be reduced exclusively not for mega food park, because there are hardly few. As on date, there are 3 functional, but then suppose everybody comes, yes, it can really give generation employment advantage to the, particularly exclusively for the Northeast I'm talking.
Okay, thank you so much for your thoughts there, Mr. Bhattacharjee. And I will direct the same question to Dr. Sanjay Parmar. Are you there, sir? Dr. Sanjay Parmar. So we can't hear you. Yes, sir. Now you're audible.
Yes, please, ma'am.
Yes, so your thoughts on the objectives which are being met for the mega food parks in terms of employment generation and the reduction in post-harvest loss, do you think is going in the right track, or again there are bottlenecks in these aspects as well?
नहीं मैम, ये अभी तो बहुत राइट ट्रैक पे जा रहा है. जो एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन है ऑलमोस्ट करीब 1200-1500 एम्प्लॉयमेंट हमारे यहाँ भी आ चुके हैं, जनरेट हो चुके हैं. अब ये डायरेक्ट एम्प्लॉयमेंट की बात कर रहे हैं. अभी जब सारे फुल्ली फंक्शनल हो जाएगा तो काफी एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेट होगा, डायरेक्ट और इनडायरेक्ट दोनों. पोस्ट हार्वेस्ट लॉसेस में भी बहुत सारा मतलब रिडक्शन हुआ है. हमने टमाटर में ही देखा, कोविड में बड़ा इशू था टमाटर ट्रांसपोर्टेशन का, लॉजिस्टिक का, और हम लोगों ने उसमें अपना फूड पार्क करीब 40,000 मेट्रिक टन के आसपास टमाटर प्रोक्योर किया और प्रोसेस किया. जिसमें हम लोग 4,000 मैट्रिक टन टमाटो पेस्ट बनाए। तो पोस्ट हार्वेस्ट रिडक्शन काफी हुआ है। कोई भी इंडस्ट्रीज हो फूड प्रोसेसिंग की, उससे काफी फायदा होता है लोगों को।
Right. Thank you. Or Victor, you would like to add something on any additional major bottlenecks which we have discussed so far in length with the other speakers? Would you like to add something?
यस मैम, इसमें जो अपनी गाइडलाइंस है ना, मिनिस्ट्री की जो गाइडलाइंस होती है, इनको मिनिस्ट्री को चाहिए कि रिव्यू करना चाहिए टाइम टू टाइम। और मेगा फूड पार्क हो चाहे फूड प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट का हो, मतलब जो भी इनके स्कीम्स हैं उनके डीपीआर, उनके कास्ट का रिवैल्यूएशन बीच में प्रोजेक्ट के होना चाहिए 1-2 बार, और खुद करना चाहिए। और फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन को भी बोलना चाहिए कि जो कास्ट है प्रोजेक्ट का, उसका कास्ट को रिवैल्यूएट करें। क्योंकि जो ये बनता है, प्रोजेक्ट बनता है, ये 2 साल 4 साल 5 साल पहले हम लोगों ने डीपीआर बनाया, उस हिसाब से काम शुरू हुआ। फिर क्या होता है, ये गाइडलाइंस के हिसाब से मिनिस्ट्री उसको पकड़ के बैठ जाती है और फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन बाद में रिवीजन करते नहीं कास्ट में।
मैडम इसमें सॉरी, मैं संजय परमार जी, गाइडलाइंस डोंट प्रिवेंट इट, इट्स द मिनिस्ट्री व्हिच इज प्रिवेंटिंग।
मिनिस्ट्री ऑफिसर,
Quite right.
और तीसरी जो मेजर प्रॉब्लम है, जो 4th इंस्टॉलमेंट है ग्रांट की फूड पार्क की, वो डिपेंड करती है कि आपके फूड पार्क में 25% यूनिट आए और ऑपरेशनल हो। उसमें क्या हो सकता है कि हम लोग तो इन्वेस्टर को ले आते हैं, अब वो उनका क्या होता है, कभी उनका प्रोजेक्ट है, कभी आईमैक में रुक जाता है, कभी फर्स्ट ग्रांट नहीं मिलती, डिले हो जाता है, कभी कास्ट ओवररन हो जाता है। उस वजह से क्या है कि वो ऑपरेशनल नहीं हो पाते, उनके चक्कर में फूड पार्क के 4th इंस्टॉलमेंट पूरी पेंडिंग रह जाती है। तो इनको ये मतलब उस पर हमारा कोई, हम लोगों का फूड पार्क इन्वेस्टर का कोई बस नहीं होता, कोई प्रेशर नहीं हो सकता। तो मिनिस्ट्री को चाहिए वहां पे थोड़ा उसको रिव्यू करे, और अगर 25% यूनिट को उन्होंने अप्रूवल दे दिया अंडर किसान संपदा यूनिट में, तो ऑपरेशनल उसको ग्रांट रिलीज कर सकते हैं फूड पार्क का। अदरवाइज वो 4 साल 3 साल लगा देंगे उनको ऑपरेशनल करने में, उनके जो यूनिट्स के ओनर्स हैं, प्रमोटर्स हैं, उसमें हम लोगों का कोई मतलब कोई अपनी चल ही नहीं पाती। उस चक्कर में हमारे 5-6 करोड़ रुपए हम लोगों के फंसे पड़े होते हैं।
May I come in here for a moment?
Yes, please.
What he is saying is absolutely correct. You see, initially, when I put it up, this condition was not there. About 25% of the projects to be sort of commissioned, it was not there. This has been brought in at a later stage, and this is the problem I also faced. So I've asked for a foreclosure on this, because it's not possible, as I say, it's not practical, it's not reasonable, and they have, again, this is one of the things where they change the goalpost. So if you go into the original policy of the food processing ministry for food parks, it's not there. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Singh. And we've taken up all the inputs from all the speakers out here, but of course we have a paucity of time also in hand, but we wish we could continue the discussion as much as possible with so many inputs coming, but we'll come to a conclusion now. So would any one of the speakers would like to add anything at the last comment?
Can I please summarize what has been discussed?
Yes, please. Sir.
Well, it's a great scheme and can do better. What is needed today is a very pragmatic approach. Policy has to evolve with times. Therefore, ministry should have an immediate dialogue with promoters of food park as early as possible, so that a proper policy framework is to precondition of conditions post facto after sanctions, like it was said just now. Number 2, the Sampada scheme, which has now come to an end, must continue. Otherwise, that will be a death knell for food parks, because otherwise it's very, very difficult to attract investment. Third thing I would say, ministry should think in terms of some sort of an insurance, as is done for MSMEs, for loans to be extended for the units which come in. It becomes a risk insurance, and banks become more liberal, or they don't have to insist on collateral. Last point I would say is, well, there has to be an aggressive promotion. If ministry can invest thousands of crores of rupees in giving grants, there can be an outlay of 15-20 crores of rupees in aggressively promoting the facilities which are created. There could be roadshows abroad. Embassies could be attracted. So there has to be at least some fraction of the investment which must go in continuous promotion. This is what I would say. A lot of challenges that we are facing, and those challenges can be resolved, those can be converted into opportunities, provided all stakeholders work together. That's where I would like to conclude on a very optimistic note.
Madam, I have spoken a lot, but I still need 1 minute of your time, if you permit.
Yes, please, sir. Yes, please, sir.
Yeah, I think three final statements. Number one, the goal of the mega food parks was to help farmers and improve processing. The entire goal seems to have been lost in translation, and the guidelines have become such a labyrinth that that goal is not being achieved. Number two, I mean, we had a saying in our school that when the entire class fails, I mean, there is something wrong with the teacher. So maybe some introspection is required at the teacher's end. And number three, the final suggestion, I think you are representing a media house. You can do a very good representation of this. So Agrovision Foundation should prepare a white paper and get it submitted to our minister and ministry through Gadkari ji. That will be a great achievement for all of us, because then it will set the ministry to work. And so kindly prepare that white paper if everybody in the panel agrees. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I may request Dr. Manveena to close the session, as we already have session speakers for the next session.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. So that brings us to the end of this session, and I would like to extend my warm thanks and regards to all the speakers who've shared their inputs and their suggestions, which are very well taken, and we'll do our best at our end to make sure things happen in the positive front in the future. Thank you so much, all the speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Agrovision.